If only... maybe we would have a chance. You see, after we studied that journal and matched it with our data, we could reconstruct the somewhat exact path SCP-2399 had when it collided with Jupiter. And guess what planet was the center of all the lines and the schematics? Guess who would have been the lucky winner of the visit of that monstrosity if Jupiter hadn't intervened? Yes, like any movie cliche, we would. And God knows what would have happened to our little planet. So what did we do? We started to form an attack plan to stop SCP-2399 from repairing. First, we deployed a jamming signal all around Jupiter's orbit via our barrier array to stop communications with the triangular galaxy. It worked. At least it worked. Then we started to study the possibility of attacking the drones. All our barrier satellites had a built-in cannon of tungsten rounds, just for any eventuality or experimentation. But we did not dare use it unless it was absolutely necessary. However, something forced us to do so. We discovered a piece of debris that, according to our models, was a part of SCP-2399 communication system. With it could overcome our puny signal jamming and could probably receive instructions from its galaxy. We didn't have much time. A drone was closing to the debris faster than a greasy monkey on a slide. So of course, and thanks to the military and command, we had to fire. Barrier Unit 53 fired a single tungsten round, enough to decimate the thing to pieces. The round traveled 100 kilometers to its target, and then it was destroyed at about 400 kilometers from it. What destroyed it? Well, we don't know really. We didn't see any projectile coming from SCP-2399 or the drones around the area. We didn't even saw a laser or gamma beam being fired. We didn't detect anything around Jupiter. What we did see was an explosion of 2.5 megatons that decimated the tungsten projectile. And then we saw this. Somehow, out of nowhere, appeared a drone in the vicinity of Barrier Unit 53 at about 2 kilometers from its position and headed straight for our satellite. Where did it came from? How did it came to be there? Well, remember the phrase. Remember R2C Clark. The drone approached Barrier Unit 53. An order was given to destroy that thing from existence, along with the satellite, but before we could aim the cannons, Barrier Unit 53 and the drone disappeared in a spatial anomaly. Well, at least that is what we call it. In sci-fi movies, it would be called a fucking wormhole or beam me up, Scotty. After that, I think one of the lead scientists fainted. I felt sick, and the commander just left the room. You would think that looking at it from a nice room with screens would make it just like a video game. Like it's not happening in real life. But you see, we are scientists. We know what all those numbers, all those graphs and odds are there for. They are there to give us a measure of reality. They are there to detect and predict. bite you in the ass when something just pops up from existence. Then you can't fucking predict shit. Then you know that there is something you just can't understand. Something inherently wrong with reality. Is there when you feel like that dream I had, where I fall through the endless clouds of Jupiter, where I hear that monstrous roar, and you feel it is not as far from reality as a fucking satellite disappearing in front of our eyes. So of course, after that little incident, the big guys, in a panic attempt to end the problem, deployed Project Gaigas. And what Project Gaigas was? A satellite that was to get into Europa's orbit, carrying nothing more and nothing less than 30 or so of the latest nuclear warheads, designed to obliterate SCP-2399 out of the face of this universe. Basically, we were going to try and destroy a thing that could manipulate space and could create nuclear explosions out of nowhere with some little missiles. But they had to appear like they did everything in their reach. As you may know, Project Gaigas was an absolute fiasco. The bombs were destroyed just like that tungsten round, about 10,000 kilometers from their target, not even at 10% of their trajectory. It was a pretty fireworks display, I must say. According to calculations, the projectors will at least travel 100 kilometers before they were intercepted. So, in a new attempt to attack, one of the barrier satellites, Unit 12, positioned itself close to a cluster of rocks that was frequented by drones, close enough to fire its round without being intercepted by whatever intercepted them. A drone showed up in a piece of rock. We fired. The projectile hit its target. The drone reappeared about 10 kilometers from the explosion, and Barrier Unit 12 was instantly teared to pieces. No explosion, just teared to pieces. Like all the screws were magically removed from it and just disintegrated into smaller parts. You know, at the time, I wasn't even impressed by that. I wasn't even impressed by that. I just sat there and started laughing at the piece of junk floating through space in tiny bits. I mean, what could we do against something like that? Someone theorized that we could at least incapacitate SCP-2399 systems with a powerful enough electromagnetic pulse, EMP, like in the movies. But of course, it would have to be a fucking load of EMP if we even wanted to tickle that thing. The project is called Legionnaire 5, and it has to be done with the help of every country in this planet. Well, I think it's cute that we are adopting that project. Well, don't listen to what I say. Now that I'm retiring, I really hope that it works. That it finally makes a difference. But you know, after what I've seen out there, after all that thing has been able to do, I wouldn't be surprised if that EMP, if deployed, transforms into snowflakes before even reaching its destination. Hell, I wouldn't even be surprised if the day we launch Legionnaire 5 into orbit, SCP-2399 just teleports to our freaking moon and blows us the fuck up. You see, That thing is not just a thing like I called it. That is a being. That being thinks and is always thinking, always studying, always looking. You wanna see the latest transmissions it has sent? You wanna see what it sent 3 hours after it took one of our satellites? It didn't destroy your satellite, it took it. It probably studied every aspect of it at a speed that we can't dare to understand. After only 3 hours, that SCP-2399 took Barrier Unit 53. It decoded our frequencies, it transmitted into our frequencies, and also it started to send data in the same format we use here. Sorry. SCP-2399 transmitted images, and is transmitting images since it took that satellite to us. It captured in video all of our satellites. It captured in video the moment it destroyed Barrier Unit 12. And now the only thing that it transmits day and night, second by second, is the same stream of video. You ask why the stress, why the nightmares? I am a scientist. I observe reality. I look through the glass and have done so for ages. I always thought that the glass was just a one-way